can I just say one thing firstly? I love the name Eat Sleep Boxing Repeat.
Hello and welcome back to ESBR Boxing's YouTube channel. Delighted as always to be joined by not so special guests nowadays, Punch Out Boxing's Ra Hokum. Ra, we're here. We're in final prediction mode. It's a big fight in the women's landscape that will likely lead to another huge fight. But whilst we're here, it's Chantelle Cameron against Jessica Camara for the WBC Interim Super Lightweight World Championship. Get straight into things, Ra, as we always do. We sort of know what's next for the winner. But before we get to that stage, who do you think wins this fight and how?
Got to go with Chantelle. Unfortunately, not the exciting prediction that I try and give usually, but looking back at her record, she's got quite the championship pedigree. This will be her 12-10 rounder. Um, Camara nowhere near the sort of resume. That said, Kamara's she's got a couple of interesting wins on her record. So she's got quite the patchy sort of form at the top level. She's been stopped a couple of times. Was on her way to a hiding against Caroline Dubois last time out. But of course, she's got that win over Choi in Korea last year. One of the best wins in the division down at lightweight. Um, but given how patchy her form's been, you have to presume that was just a fluke win. So I think Cameron will do what she has done throughout her career and use her considerable boxing ability to box her way to a pretty comfortable 10-round decision, as she has throughout her career.
Unfortunately for the viewers, we've got two of the channel's most out there and bold predictors. I have to completely agree with yourself, and I think it could be 10-0. I think there's levels here. I think Chantal Cameron's using this as, it's mental that it's an interim title for Katie Taylor's all the bouts is a comeback fight in a sense. It's a get ready fight, that type of fight, just a mandatory sort of get it out the way and get back into the big fight. So here we are. Unfortunately, both of us are predicting the Chantal Cameron points victory. I'd be very surprised if either woman got a stoppage here. I'll actually be taking a look at the odds at that after this video just to see how out there of a prediction it would have been. But yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if it's 10-0. This fight is essentially being used to set up a super fight again. For those that won't have seen it yet, I won't spoil Ra's thoughts on Katie Taylor, Amanda Serrano. However, Ra, should it be Katie Taylor again? Should it be Amanda Serrano? How do you think Chantal Cameron, should she win over the weekend, how do you think she gets on against Katie Taylor or Amanda Serrano? And just throw in one almost other question in there, who do you think she would favour fighting out of the two?
I think Chantal beats them both at this point in their careers for different reasons, irrespective of how uh, the Taylor Serrano trilogy fight goes. I think she's going to be the much fresher fighter. She's big at the weight, and she has got that great boxing ability, as witnessed by the fact that she's the only woman to inflict a defeat on Katie Taylor. Um, I don't think it's a shoo-in at all that she gets the winner of that. Um, it's a possibility. Again, a lot will depend on how the result of that fight goes, how the fight itself goes between Taylor and Serrano, as to whether they're in any rush to
Mhm.
accommodate Chantelle. Chantelle, she's one of those fighters that a victim of her own success in that she's very good, but just doesn't have that much market behind her. Unfortunately, she's from Northampton. I'm sure it's a lovely town. I've never been, but it's not the biggest sort of haven for getting a behind any sort of sports star. But I mean, fair play to her. She's remained patient. She's switched coach again. She looks like she's really motivated and still wants to pursue this career. Um, but yeah, I'm not convinced at all she will ever get either of those two illustrious names. I think more likely she might have to wait for some of the big names, the young upcomers coming up from lightweight, or more likely she will have to move up to 147. There's that sort of grudge match with Sandy Ryan. That could be interesting there. Um, Lauren Price, that could be a big fight in Price's native Wales. Of course, Price is in a bit of limbo herself, I guess, with her boxer slash Sky contract. Where that is, we don't know. Yeah, I think realistically, the biggest fight that will be more easily made for her would be that undisputed welterweight title fight if that comes about sometime next year.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Especially considering it should, it's a bit of a strange trilogy. Serrano Taylor. Should Amanda Serrano win, it's 2-1 Taylor.
Mhm.
And you could argue it could have been, could and should have been 2-1 Serrano. So for all we talk of, we mentioned Chantelle Cameron and fighters like that, we could see Katie Taylor and Amanda Serrano go again. Should Amanda
Mhm.
Serrano win, then it's 2-2. Do we see a fifth fight? It's such an interesting trilogy of, normally when you see a trilogy, it's 1-1, it's one apiece. There's usually been, we see from time to time a bit of controversy in and around, but I like what you said. There's some big names there. I think Lauren Price is a huge domestic fight for any world titles over here in the UK. Like you say, would be in Wales, as unfortunately Northampton probably, like you say, wouldn't pull a big crowd in. But yeah, there's options. There's some big names being floated about. Let us know down below in the comments, guys, if you agree with me and Ra. Can you see the upset happening? Do you see Chantal Cameron going on to beat all of the names we've mentioned? Taylor, Serrano, Lauren Price. Plenty of options available for her. As always, like, comment, subscribe, and Ra, thank you once again for joining me tonight.